My Ring doorbell started acting up last week. At first, it was just little things. I'd get a motion alert, check the app, and nothing would be there. Just an empty porch, maybe a car passing by on the street. I figured it was just a glitch, a sensitivity issue. Annoying, but whatever. Then, the chimes started. The doorbell would ring, clear as day, usually late at night. I'd rush to the door, peek through the peephole, and see absolutely nothing. I started checking the event history more carefully. The motion alerts were happening at the exact same time every night, 3:03 a.m., always 3:03 a.m., and every time, the live view would show nothing. I told myself it was probably a stray cat or a raccoon that was just out of frame. But the ringing, that was harder to explain away. I tried rebooting the device, checking the wiring, everything the support page suggested. Nothing worked. A few nights ago, I decided to stay up and watch the live feed myself. I sat on my couch, phone in hand, just waiting. As the clock ticked past 3, I kept my eyes glued to the screen. At 3:03 a.m., right on schedule, the motion alert popped up. And this time, I saw something. It was just for a second, a flicker in the night vision. A tall, impossibly thin shape standing at the very edge of my porch, right where the light from the street lamp barely reached. It was just a silhouette, a dark cutout against the grainy, foggy night. Before I could even process what I was seeing, it was gone. My heart was hammering in my chest. I rewound the footage, playing it back over and over. There it was, a tall, shadowy figure. It didn't look like a person. The proportions were all wrong, too long, too slender. It just stood there for a fraction of a second and then vanished. I didn't sleep at all that night. I kept replaying the clip, trying to find a rational explanation. Was it a trick of the light, a shadow from a tree branch? But there are no trees that close to my porch. The next night, I was a wreck. I couldn't decide if I wanted to watch the feed or just hide under my covers. Curiosity, or maybe morbid fascination, won out. I propped my phone up on the coffee table and waited. 3:03 a.m., the notification came. My hand was shaking as I looked at the screen. The figure was there again, but this time, it was closer. It was standing in the middle of my porch steps. Still, just a silhouette, but I could make out more detail. A long, slender head, limbs that seemed to bend at odd angles. It just stood there, motionless, staring directly at the camera. Then, just like before, it flickered and disappeared. I started to get really scared. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't a stray animal. Something was coming to my house every night, getting closer each time. I saved the video clips, thinking I should show them to someone. But who would believe me? The police. They'd think I was crazy. So I just kept watching, night after night, feeling like I was documenting my own personal horror movie. The following night, the figure was right at my door. Its form filled the entire frame of the camera. I couldn't see a face, just a void of darkness where a face should be. It was so close I felt like I could reach out and touch it. It didn't move, it just stood, for a full minute this time. The timestamp on the video read 3:03 a.m. I was frozen, watching this thing on my phone, knowing it was just a few feet away from me, separated only by a wooden door. Then, it was gone. I didn't know what to do. I thought about leaving, going to a hotel. But a part of me needed to see what happened next. The next night, I was sitting on my couch, phone in hand as usual, when the most bizarre thing happened. At 3:03 a.m., I got the motion alert. I opened the app, and the video feed showed the figure standing on my porch again. But this time, I noticed something else. Something that made my blood run cold. The timestamp, it was glitching. It was flickering between the current date and a date 3 days in the future. I stared at it, completely bewildered. Was the device malfunctioning that badly? The figure just stood there, and the timestamp kept jumping forward and back. Then, it settled on the future date, and the footage changed. It wasn't my empty porch anymore. The video showed the inside of my living room. It was filming from the corner of the ceiling, looking down at my couch, and I was on the couch, sleeping. I was watching a video of myself from the future, taken from an impossible angle inside my own house. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. How? How could my Ring doorbell be recording this? I watched, horrified, as a shadow crept into the frame from the side of the room, slowly moving towards my sleeping form on the couch. The video cut out before I could see what happened. I threw my phone across the room. I was hyperventilating. This was impossible. It had to be a hack, a prank, a very elaborate, terrifying prank. But who would do this, and how? I spent the rest of the night with all the lights on, jumping at every creak and groan of the house. I couldn't bring myself to look at my phone. The next day, I was exhausted but determined to figure this out. I forced myself to pick up my phone and check the Ring app. I went through the event history. All the clips of the figure were there, and then I saw a new one. It was recorded at 3:03 a.m., but the event was labeled Answered Ring. I hadn't answered it. I hadn't touched my phone. I clicked on it, my heart pounding. The video started. It was the view from my porch, just like all the others. The tall, dark figure was standing there, right at the door. Then I heard a voice, a distorted, crackling voice coming from the doorbell speaker. It was my voice. It said, "It's okay, you can come in now." My own voice, inviting this thing inside. I don't remember saying that. I couldn't have. I was watching the feed from my couch. As I listened to my own recorded voice, the figure on the screen slowly reached out a long, thin arm and the video feed distorted into a mess of static and pixels. The video ended. My mind was racing. Had I been sleepwalking? Sleep talking through the doorbell? It didn't make any sense. I scrolled frantically through the event history, looking for another clue, anything. And that's when I saw it, the last recording. It was from 5 minutes ago. The thumbnail was just a black screen. It wasn't from the doorbell. The label just said living room. We don't have a camera in the living room. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold the phone. With a deep breath, I pressed play. The video was grainy and dark, but I could tell it was being filmed from the corner of my living room ceiling, pointed down at the couch. The exact same angle from the future video. On the couch, I could see myself. I was sitting right there, where I am now, holding my phone, my face pale in its glow. The video was live. It was a live feed from inside my house. As I watched myself on the screen, I saw something else. A flicker of movement in the corner of the video. A tall, dark shadow, slowly detaching itself from the deeper shadows of the room. It was stepping into the light. It's in the house with me. It's right here, right now. I can hear the floorboards creaking behind me.